Okay, so let's do now this is the last mimer printed in the uh third volume of Maimori Melukat from the Rebbe. Now again, like the previous mimer, this is not a Mogadike mimer. This has not been published uh by the Rebbe. This was a mimer the Rebbe said on Shavuos, the second day of Shavuos in Tov Chof Aleph. It's Hanoche. But I guess since the Rebbe fixed a couple of things over there, they put it down also, and they included it in the Memoriam Melukat. So this is a totally different style. I mean, it doesn't have the breakups, it doesn't have all the notes, and it doesn't have the clarity as is in the Memoriam Melukat. But this is still the Maimer. This is the Hanoche that they uh, put down of the Rebbe's talk. So that's what we're going to do now. And that's going to conclude all the Maimorim of of the third volume. We didn't do all of them yet, but I'm just saying this is the last Maimer in this printed volume in Cheli Gimel. All right. Yom Beis the Chag HaShavuos, Tavshin Chof Aleph, Hanocha. The Maimer begins with a posik in Mishlei that this is a verse that the Torah says. The Torah says, "Va'eye etzloi omoin." That means that I have been by Hashem etzloi. The Torah says, I've been etzloi by him, omen. I've been raised. I grew up by Hashem. Ve'eye shashuim. And I was the delight or the plaything. Yoim yoim misachekes lefonov. Day by day, the Torah would uh, rejoice before Hashem, meaning Hashem enjoyed day by day, b'choles, at all times. The Torah is saying that it grew up by Hashem, it delighted Hashem, misachekes lefonov b'choles. And the next pasuk says, "V'sha'ashu es b'nei Yodel." And this was also the delight of the people. That's when the Yidden received the Torah by Matan Torah. That's the Shashui. That's the connection Matan Torah. That this Shashuim, the Torah, which was the delight of the Eberster by himself, became the delight of the Yidden over here by Matan Torah. The Eberster gave his enjoyment, his plaything, his Shashuim, his Amen, he gave it away to the Bnei Odom. So first, the Rebbe clarifies the pasuk. It says "Va'ohei shashuyim," but the Rebbe clarifies that this goes on the etzloi. It's as if "Va'ohei etzloi shashuyim," that the delight of Torah was the etzloi, the Eibishter's delight. Hine mashekosuv va'ohei etzloi. I was by him. It's not just Omoin. It's not just I was raised by him. Koi gam al sha'ashuim. That also goes v'aya etzli sha'ashuim. That the Torah was by Hashem the sha'ashuim. That was the rejoicing, the play thing that brought Hashem joy. Hainu v'aya etzli sha'ashuim. That I was by him sha'ashuim. Not just a etzli omen grew up, but I was sha'ashuim by Hashem. This seems to be very high madrega because later on the pasuk says "Shashu es b'nei Adam," that the Torah is the delight of the human beings, of the people. How could the delight of people also be the delight of Hashem? Seems to be like a very distant between the Eibishter and being the delight of Hashem. Bahainu. So that means Dagam shenemar v'sha'ashuye es b'nei Odom. Even though the pasuk says that it was a delight for the people, mikol makom hisha'ashuim gam etzli. it's still also a shashuyim, a delight also by Hashem himself. And the Rebbe brings down from the Kuntres Achre, Kimavur b'Kuntres Achren, in the Alter Rebbe be'inyan, in the subject matter of David's Midas Korilu, that the Eibishter had a complaint to David that David called the Torah Zmiris. He called it a song. Shenemar, Sheomar, because he said, Zmiris hoyu li chukecha. He says it was a song. Your statutes was my song. He talked about Torah in a way of a song. And because he's talked about Torah as a song, he was punished, it says. What is so terrible about talking about the Torah as a song? It says he forgot a halacha that even the children know about carrying the orin on the carriage, so that he forgot it. He was punished. But why was he punished? It says, the Gemara says, because he said that your statues were my song. What's wrong with the song? So what does the Alter Rebbe explain in Tanya, in Kuntres Achren? Shekol, what his song means, Shekol ha'olamos tluyim b'dikduk shel kal shel Torah. That all the worlds hinge on a light particular of Torah, which means Torah is so influential and it's so creates, connects to the world, even by a small particular of Torah, a light particular of Torah. That's what he meant when he said Zemiris. So what's so bad? But Venena Shalzeh. He got punished for this. Why? Lifi she'ein ze iker inyan ha'Torah shebo tolu kol chayus ha'olamas. That's not the main aspect of Torah, that all the energy of the world hinges on Torah. That's not the main thing of Torah. That does not capture the real quality of Torah. That the Torah is a zmiris, that everything hinges on the Torah, that's not what the main thing of Torah is. Kim iker inyan Torah. But what is the main idea of Torah? Shehi simchas lev. That's the rejoicing of the heart. V'shashua hamelech hakodesh baruch hu shemishtasheya bo. And the Torah is the enjoyment, the delight of the King HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem delights with the Torah. So that's why he was punished, because he said that this is the main mile of Torah is that it's a delight of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'zehu she'omar HaKosuv, and this is what the Pasuk says, V'e'yeh etzloi sha'ashuim. I was by Hashem, the delight. And it says, etzloi davka. Shashuim, that the Shashuim goes on the Etzlei was by Hashem Davke. And then the pasuk further says, Misachekes lefonov, I played before him, lefonov Davke. B'pnimiyas ein sof, in the Pnimiyas ein sof. So this is the idea of Torah being a Shashuim by the Pnimiyas, by the Ein Sof. But there is different levels over here. There is several levels in the level of Torah, the way it's by Etzloi. There is Va'eye Etzloi Amoin, was raised by Hashem. There is Shashuim, plaything, Misachekes Lefonov, V'goimer, until eventually the Torah is also V'shashuyas B'nei Odom, the delight of people. Kimavur b'mokam achar explained elsewhere the different madreges. Madreges is omen, shashuyim, misachek lefonov, shashuyim b'nei odom. Kimavur b'inyan zeh shahatoira hi v'shashuyas b'nei odom hu be'ein aroich lebchinas shashuyim atzmim de Torah. This idea that Torah is a delight for the human beings is uncomparable to the level of the essence of the delight of the Shashuim of Torah. Shezehu Iker HaTorah, that is the main Torah, and that is what David HaMelech should have known. And the fact that he didn't praise the Torah by being Shashuim, that's why he was punished. But the Torah's point, the main point of the Torah is that the Torah is a delight before Atzmus, before Hashem himself. Now, so the Rebbe says, so that's why this idea that the Torah is Shashuyim, the Eibishter gave into the Torah, and that Torah was given over to the Yidden. That's why it becomes their Shashuyim. So we can say, possibly, that this is also that which the Baal Shem Tov says. The Baal Shem Tov says, the Kishem Sheklolus HaTorah Klula Ba'aseres HaDibros. Just as all Torah in general is included in the 10 sayings, that the 10 sayings, Aseres HaDibros, include in them all of the mitzvahs of the Torah, Kemevur Ba'az Horis Harasag, as articulated in the warnings of the Rav Sadia Goyen. Over there he brings down, he shows how all the Torah and all the mitzvahs are included in the 10 commandments. So the Baal Shem Tov says, just like all of Torah is included in the 10 commandments, K'maykein, Klula Kol HaTorah B'Tevas Anochi. And likewise, all the Torah is included in the word Anochi. The whole Torah is included in the 10 commandments, but within the 10 commandments, the Torah is included, everything is included in Anochi. How could we say that all of Torah is Anochi? Anochi means I. When you say I, the Eibishter is saying, Anochi, I. What level is the level of I? Sometimes you can say, Hashem is Elokecha. Here you're saying, Anochi, I am your God. When you say I, you're saying basically, you can't name what level it is. It's Hashem himself. That means Anochi. So on one hand, we're saying, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, that the Anochi, the highest level, is Anochi. And then you're saying that that level becomes all of Torah in the level of Anochi. Every part of Torah is included, as the Baal Shem Tov says now, in the level of Anochi. The L'chaira, this is a hard concept that everything is included in the word Anochi. Hare Anochi, hu Anochi, Misha Anochi. You say I, that means whoever I am. You're not saying any level. The loy is seramis, loy bishum ois, loy bishum koitz. That cannot be even hinted. There's no letter to represent who Anochi is. There's not even the point of a letter to represent who Anochi is. It's just Anochi I. I said in the Zohar. V'haTorah, and this level of Anochi, this highest level, nimshecha lemata, that has extended, been drawn down below, ad la shashuyas b'nei Adam, until it became the light of the people when they didn't got the Torah, that became the shashuyim b'nei Adam. So ma'u inyan shekol haTorah kula lulav Anochi. So what is the idea of all Torah being included in Anochi, that it's all at that level of Anochi, which Anochi is such a high level? So the Rebbe says, So we can say the explanation for this is Ki kol ha'Torah hishashuyim atzmim shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All of Torah is the delight, the essence delight, the atzmi is the delight, shashuyim, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As the Pasuk says, V'ayeh etzle shashuyim, that the shashuyim is by Hashem, which is the level of Anochi. V'zeu she'anochi, and that is that this shashuyim is Anochi, is a Rosh Tevis. It's the beginning of the words Ano Nafshi Kesovis Yehovis. I, my soul, myself, have written down and given into the Torah. That is what Anochi is. That the Anochi, this highest level of Shashuyim, the Eibishter presented it and gave it into the Torah. The Anochi Misha Anochi. The level of Anochi Misha Anochi. Whoever I am, this level. Nosan Atzmoi B'chol HaTorah Kula. He presented himself in all of Torah. That means all of Torah, the Baal Shem Tov says, is included in Anochi. The highest level of Anochi is in all of Torah. So basically, that is the level of the Shashuyim that we get from Torah comes all the way from the level of Anochi. The Eibishter presented itself, no nafshik sovis yehovis in Torah. Oh, so now this level of Anochi starts with Matan Torah, because that's when Hashem says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. But the Rebbe says now, in essence, it already starts from Yitzias Mitzrayim and the 7 weeks that we count this Sfiras Omer, a lead up to Matan Torah. So based on it's known, Shahachona leMatan Torah hu inyan Yitzias Mitzrayim v'Sfiras Omer, that the preparation for the Torah being given is going out of Mitzrayim and counting the Omer. How do you move on? So it's understood shebechinas ve'eye etzle shashuyim shebaTorah. So this level of ve'eye etzle shashuyim that we got by the Torah, by Matan Torah, yeshne gam b'yitzias Mitzrayim u'v'sfiras Omer. That exists also as we are leaving Egypt and counting the Omer, which prepare us for Matan Torah. So over there we also have the idea of the Shashuyim Shebetorah already comes down. And the Rebbe says, V'zeu shekol gimel inyonim elu nikroyim b'shem Shabbos. That we find that Yitzias Mitzrayim and Sfiras Omer and Matan Torah, they're all called Shabbos. What do we see? We refer to it also as Shabbos because it has that level of Shabbos in it already. The level of Anochi. Where do we see that all of them are called Shabbos? So first of all, when the Torah refers to Pesach, the Torah says, Usfartem lachem mimochras haShabbos. Mimochras haShabbos means what? You start counting after Yom Tov, after Pesach, after the first day Pesach. But the Torah refers to Yom Tov here, Shabbos. It doesn't say from the day after Pesach, but from the day after Shabbos. Ki'im mimochras haShabbos. Hainu shePesach shu inyan Yitzias Mitzrayim nikra b'shem Shabbos. So here you see that Pesach, which is Exodus of Egypt, is called Shabbos. That's as far as Yitzias Mitzrayim. Then, as far as Sfiras Omer, we also call these weeks of Sfiras Omer, we call them Shabbos. Because v'chein ksiv, likewise it's written, Sheva Shabbosos Tmimis Tiyena, 7 Shabboses. Complete Shabboses, complete weeks. So the week is called Shabbos. Shiva Shavuos. It doesn't say 7 weeks. The other pasuk says Shiva Shavuos Tisperloch, that you should count 7 weeks. But here it says Sheva Shabbosis, Kim Sheva Shabbosis Davke. Why? Lefi Shesfira Soimer Ugamke Bechinas Shabbos. So here we see that Sfira Soimer is also Shabbos. That's why it's called Shabbos. V'chein and likewise by Matan Torah, we also find Shabbos Ksiv Ad Mimochras HaShabbos HaShviz, until the day after the 7th Shabbos, Tisperu Chamishim Yom. You'll count the 50 days. So again, Memochras HaShabbos, which is Shavuos, Shaloi Nemar Ad Memochras HaShavua HaShviz. It doesn't say till the end of the 7th week. Ki Memochras HaShabbos HaShviz. The day after the 7th Shabbos Shekoi Al Chag HaShavuos Zman Matan Torah. Mochras HaShabbos, meaning the Yom Tov of Shavuos, the time of the Torah was given Shenikra B'Shem Shabbos. That's called also Shabbos. So it says here in Mochras HaShabbos HaShviz, the day after the 7th is the Shabbos. Because it's Matan Torah saying it is called Shabbos. Not only that, even though the Gemara says there's a machloikis whether it was the 7th or the 6th day of the month, but v'hakol moedim de b'Shabbos nitno Torah, that Shabbos give Torah. So what do we see here? We see that Yitzias Mitzrayim, we see that Sfiras HaOmer, we see the Matan Torah, they're all called Shabbos. Why are they called Shabbos? B'hainu lefi she'kol b'chol gimel inyonim elu yeshnoi hamshochas b'chinas vayetz le'shashuyim. Because in all of these three matters, the preparation for Matan Torah, Yitzias Mitzrayim, Sfiras HaOmer, they have the level Shashuyim. That's why it's Shabbos. V'lochein nikroim kulam b'shem Shabbos, and that's what they're all called Shabbos. Moshe Yisrael Lahal has explained later on. So the Rebbe explains because the level of Shashuyim is really in on the Eichid they gave in all of Torah. Explains the word of the Baal Shem Tov. But here the Rebbe explains now that they're all called Shabbos, Yitzias Mitzrayim and Sfiras HaOmer and Matan Torah, because they all have this level of Yetz L'Shashur. Base. Well, the idea is the Hine Klolus Hagilu Shahoya B'Mashas Matan Torah. Generally, the revelation that was when the Torah was given, Einoi Mebchinas Oir Shebegeder Gilui. That is not from a level of oir which is defined to be able to be revealed. It's a non-revealed light. What they experienced by Matan Torah was a non-revealed light. Ki'im mebechinas etzem ha'oir. That was a revelation of the essence of the oir, shehu l'maylo megeter gilu legamri, which is entirely above, higher than the definition of revelation, cannot reveal. It's helem be'etzem. It's in essence hidden ba'ad la'atzmus, until the level of atzonechi mishonechi. That all came down, the hidden light, the essence, the light that's not revealed until the level of atzonechi mishonechi. The loy is rames, loy b'shum eis, that cannot be hinted, not in a letter and not in a point. It's totally, if it was a letter or a point, that means that it has some connection to Gilui. But because it cannot be revealed, that means there is no connection to any Gilui. So, if Matan Torah was a revelation, which is higher than any Gilui, how could we be working towards it with Yitzias Mitzrayim, Sfiras HaOmer, which leads up to that Gilui? But we're saying that Gilui is entirely higher. How could we elicit that? This does not contradict the Mashin is Bor Le'il that we explained earlier. Sha'gilui de Matan Torah bo achrei ha'achona di Yitzias Mitzrayim that the Matan Torah came. The Rebbe said before, it was a preparation of Yitzias Mitzrayim and the Sfiras Omer. So that seems that this was an avodah of the Yidden. But so the Rebbe says like this: because in addition to the fact that even when we talk about a level which is higher than Hishtalshlus, not Begeder Gilui, even when we talk about the essence of the Eir, Shalamayla Megeder Gilui, which is above the boundaries of revelation, Yesh Seder V'Hadraga. So there's an order, there's a step-by-step there also. Meaning, even though it's higher than Ishtalshlus, but there is a step-by-step over there too. So there could be preparation, there could be Yitzias Mitzrayim, there could be Sfiras Omer, and then you get Matan Torah. Ukemivua b'mokem achar, hadugma al zeh, me'inyan hanisim. Explained elsewhere the example that things that orderly, even in higher than Ishtalshlus, is from the idea, the concept of miracles. Even though miracles are above the order of the normal evolution, the Ishtalshlus, there's still an order and a step by step, even by Nisim, which means in Lamaila Meishtalshlus, there's also an orderly way. But there's another thing in this case. In order for these levels of shashuyim, the essence shashuyim, the delight of Hashem, that they should be extending below ad libchinas v'shashuyis b'nei Adam, to the extent that it is going to become the delight of the humans. Hutzrich liyos b'zeh seder v'hadroga. There needed to be an order. It needed a step by step. Because for two reasons, he explains. First of all, there is a step by step, and there is preparation. You can't say, well, it's higher than Ishtalshlus, it just comes. There's a Seder V'Hadroga there too. But especially in our case, since we want that this level, which is higher than Ishtalshlus, to come down, all the ways down to V'Shashuas B'nei Adam, it needed to be in a way order so that it can come down later on. And the Rebbe is going to actually explain, even though it comes in a way of a Seder V'Hadroga, in a way but then later on, it's like a jump over. It's going to talk about Medalig al Hahori Mekapetz al Gvois, with 1 foot, with 2 feet, but we'll leave this for the next time, Mr. Shem.
Okay, thank you very much. See you next time.